Hi folks, we're going to take a look at an example of sketching the graph of a sinusoidal function given its equation. Okay, so what we have to do is figure out what information that equation gives us. First thing I notice is that the function used is cosine. And since the number in front is positive, I know that we're going to be starting at the maximum. Okay, so I'm going to write this down, that we're going to start, okay, at the max. Okay, now I'm going to see what these numbers tell me about this function. So this number in front of the function, 6, represents the amplitude. So the a value is the amplitude. Okay, so that's 6. This number at the end, the k value, represents the axis. So here, the axis is going to be y equals -2, that horizontal line. Now this number here, b, that multiplies the x, that helps me find my period. So I can find my period by using the formula 360 divided by the b value. Okay, so here it's 360 divided by 10, so 36 units is my period. Okay, now with the amplitude and axis, I can find the max and the min, because that's going to be very helpful to sketch the graph. So the axis is the middle line that cuts my function in half. So if I want to find the maximum, I go to my axis and I add the amplitude. So that's going to be the 6. So -2 plus 6, which gives me 4. And if I want to find the minimum, I start at my axis and I subtract the amplitude. Okay, so the min is going to be -2 minus 6, which is -8. Okay, so now I have all the information that I need to sketch the graph. The next part is to set up my Cartesian plane. Okay, so I'm not going to use any negative x values, so I'm going to place my y-axis right at the very end. Okay, for my x-axis though, I have to look at my max and min. So I'm obviously going to place it a little higher, since I need more negative numbers than I need positive numbers. And I'm going to check now to see if I can go up by 1 unit. So -8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have just enough room that I can go up by 1 unit. Okay, so let me draw it here. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So this is the point at which I'm going to draw my x-axis. Okay, let's just move that to a better position. Okay, now I'm going to put my scale. So as we said, we're going to go up by 1 here. So 1, 2, and this is going to go down, -1, -2. Okay, and now I need to work with my x-axis. This is where I need to be a little more careful. Remember what I said about how we put the scale on the x-axis. I always look at my period, and I'm going to split it up into 4 equal parts. Okay, so since I have a lot of room here, I'm going to make each quarter be represented by 2 boxes here. So this is going to be the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and then finally the last quarter. So this is where 36 is going to be. I don't worry about what these numbers represent. All I know is that whatever my period is, I split it up into 4 parts. And since I'm going to draw 2 cycles, I'm going to repeat here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this is going to be 36 times 2, 72. Okay, now in order to help me nicely draw my graph, I'm going to draw lines across my max, my min, and my axis. So my max is at 4, so I'm just going to draw a dotted line to help me out here. Okay, my axis is at -2. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line across there, and then my minimum is at -8. So I'm going to put my line along there. Okay, and now I can start plotting my points. So remember, it's cosine, so I'm starting at the max. So at the beginning, I'm going to draw a line at my point at my max. Then a quarter of the way through, I get to the middle. Okay, halfway through, I get to the min. 3/4, I get back to the middle, and then finally I end where I started from at the max. And now I just repeat this for the next cycle. Min, back to the middle, and then back to the max. Okay, and now I try to draw as best diagram as I can. So let me use a different color here. So this is, I haven't been using this too long, so I'm going to try to make it as nice as I can. So first we make it curvy, we go down, okay, and then back up. Okay. So on paper you should be able to draw a nicer graph than I'm drawing here. Okay, but I'm not going to worry about this too much. Okay, and then finally, okay, so make sure you have that curvature. Make sure you're not drawing such straight lines. Okay, so just to recap, when you look at your equation, you determine where it starts based on the function, based on whether it's positive or negative. You find your 5 characteristics. You set up your scales. You draw lines at your max, middle, and min, and then you can go and place points at all the important locations and then draw your graph. Okay, that's it.